راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية زاد،
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. The natural inclination, or what is known as fitrah, is divided into two types. Something that deals with aqidah, which each and every human being is born with, and that is to believe in the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the other one is a practical one, which is something that we are told to do. And these things were combined in the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, and the hadith of Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, as we will come and see bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal. And these items, these characteristics, these inclinations are natural in the sense that no normal human being would reject them, rather would adopt them and want to do them. And they're related to cleanliness and purity. The first one is using the miswak. The siwak or the miswak is that twig which so many Muslims use to clean their teeth. And this is highly recommended, as the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ used to use it most of the times. The Prophet said ﷺ in a hadith, the siwak is cleaning to the mouth, or it's a form of cleansing of the mouth, and it pleases the Lord Azza wa Jal. And also the Prophet ﷺ said, had I not fear burdening my ummah, I would have ordered them to use the siwak for every prayer. Meaning before praying, the Prophet would have ordered them to do this, alayhi salatu wassalam. And this beautiful sunnah is highly recommended when a person performs wudu, when he wakes up from sleep, when there is sort of a mouth odor, when he wants to recite the Quran, when he wants to pray, also while entering the masjid or entering his home to meet his family. These are recommended situations where people are recommended to use the siwak. Some folks would consider it to be inappropriate to use it when addressing elders or dignitaries or in a circle of knowledge. It wouldn't be appropriate when you're talking to your father and you're just doing this, or talking to the prime minister, or talking to someone of importance, because they may think that this is disrespectful, and it might be. So one has to limit it to the places where it is recommended, or when there's nothing related to the situation, when he's home or whatever. The second characteristic of the natural inclination is shaving the pubic hair. And the pubic hair is the hair that grows around the private parts. And that is meant of the front private part, because this is what is known as the pubic hair. What about the hair that grows at the back passage? This is recommended to remove if there is no hardship, but it is not mandatory, as in the case of shaving the pubic hair. And one can remove it with other means if he's reluctant to use a razor. However, the sunnah is to shave it. But if someone wants to use hair removal creams, if someone wants to wax it, there's no problem in that. Trimming it with a machine is not permissible. It doesn't serve the job, because shaving it means to totally remove it. Trimming it with a trimmer, hair trimmer, doesn't do the job sufficiently. Now, the hadith that obligates it, unlike the miswak is a recommendation. But there are some of these characteristics that are mandatory. And these are combined in the hadith of Anas, may Allah be pleased with him. Anas says, the Prophet ﷺ timed for us, or a time limit has been set for us to, and he listed the things that considered to be mandatory: trimming the mustache, clipping the nails, plucking the armpit hair, and shaving the pubic hair. The Prophet ﷺ timed all of this, that should not be left for more than 40 days. So this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that is mandatory. Unlike the siwak, it is recommended. If you don't do it, there's no problem in that. Why would we say mandatory? Because Anas said the time period was given to us. So this is something that the Prophet told them not to exceed that time limit. However, if these things, such as the mustache hair, and this is the third characteristics with us, the sunnah is to cut it short as much as possible, not to shave it, rather to trim it really, really good. And the reason is that it would not exceed the upper lip. You know, in the old days, and sometimes nowadays, we may share the same cup. So if someone had big mustache and the hair is growing, and you drink, a lot of impurities may fall in the cup, or it would be attached to a person's mustache, and this is unhygienic and not clean and not appropriate. But this is our way of thinking. As for the legitimacy of this action, we don't give it a reason. Rather, we say that this is the order of the Prophet ﷺ to trim it to the best of our ability, so that it would not exceed the upper lip, but not to shave it all together. Number 4, growing the beard. I don't have to put fertilizers to make my beard bigger, or use some medication. No, Islam just tells me to leave it as it is. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, stated that the Prophet actually this hadith, which is agreed upon, does not refer to growing the beard, so we will skip that. Rather, we would go to the following hadith of Mother Aisha, which we mentioned earlier. Mother Aisha says, 10 things are part of the Fitrah. And these things are trimming. She says, cutting the mustache, or trimming the mustache, letting go of your beard, using the siwak, rinsing the nose, that is pulling the water up your nostrils, then clipping your nails, washing your knuckles and plucking the armpit hair, shaving the pubic hair, and washing oneself with water, referring to istinja, which we talked about in the previous sessions. These are 9. And the 10th, one of the narrators of the hadith said, I forgot the 10th unless it is rinsing the mouth with water, which is al-madmada, that is done in wudu. So these are the 10 characteristics of the natural inclination or fitrah that was mentioned in the hadith of Mother Aisha. Some are mandatory, as we've mentioned before, some are from the sunnah. Number 5 is clipping the nails, and this is logical and it's natural. When you see someone with long nails, that probably there are germs and dirt underneath. Even if they clean it, it still doesn't look natural at all, and it's not good. Number 6 is plucking the armpit hair, whether by plucking it using wax or hair removal creams. And if one is finding it difficult, one can shave it as well, as Imam Shafi'i says, so that no filth or dirt is combined or gathered there, and this prevents the awful and abusive odor from existing. Number 7, washing the knuckles, where also the areas of the body that may contain dirt and needs to be thoroughly washed. Number 8, circumcision. And circumcision is a natural operation that is done for newborns. It is mandatory to circumcise male children, male boys. Boys are usually male, and unfortunately, except in nowadays where this weird inclination of not knowing what you are. So this is part of the sunnah. It is mandatory to circumcise baby boys, and it's a difference of opinion to female circumcisions, and the most authentic that it is recommended but not mandatory. And the vast majority of women nowadays don't do it, alhamdulillah azza wa jal. And if one doesn't do it, there is nothing wrong in that. And in addition to these characteristics, we can also add rinsing the nose by inhaling up your nostrils to the best of your ability without harming yourself, water, and then blowing it out. Also rinsing the mouth, or known as madmada, and of course cleaning your private part after answering the call of nature with using water, known as al-istinja. هذا والله أعلم ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية زاد،
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن، وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.